And welcome to The Cabin, episode number 65. My name is Eric Paulson.
I'm Audio Dave.
And I'm Susan Foch.
And with us today is a special guest host to The Cabin. No stranger to hosting Discover Wisconsin, though. Please welcome Rick Rose to the podcast. Hello, Rick.
Hey, thank you. Number 65. That's like milestone. Thanks for the invite.
We waited 65 episodes before we had you, basically.
You've been on the pod before, back when we were actually able to record this in person. What episode was that?
Was it episode 4?
It was episode 4, so it took you 61 times before you invited me back. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that.
It's all based on your previous performance. You know how it is.
But, for me, it's like, well, listening to you guys, I feel like I am part of the podcast. That's what I love what you guys do. You include everybody, and it's fun to hear the feedback and the conversation. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. You mentioned I hosted the show. You're right. I did it for 9 seasons. I hosted Discover Wisconsin, and we ate and we drank our way through this entire state. One of my favorite things to do for sure.
It is very enjoyable. I can tell you that. Even my scale will tell you that. Just a fantastic time. And today, of course, speaking of eating and drinking, we're talking about drinking today.
Nice.
A quintessential Wisconsin beverage, and I'm looking forward to it.
What is
now
that?
By the way, the topic is not beer. I know. I'm holding a glass of beer.
For our
but you know
audio
what this
audience,
is?
he's holding up a beer.
I am. It's only a little beer. You know why? Because it's called a chaser, boys and girls. Wait till you see the Bloody Marys. All right, The Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association, and this week we're featuring Iron County, one of the most northern counties in the state, certainly. It borders Lake Superior, third least populous county in Wisconsin, named for the valuable iron ore found within its borders. Long mining history up there. And it's directly across from Ironwood, Michigan, via the Little Montreal River, which separates Wisconsin from the UP. One of its most famous towns is Hurley. Love Hurley. Very colorful, interesting history. Named after a prominent attorney who went by M.A. Hurley. He was from Wausau. He won a lawsuit for the Northern Chief Iron Company in 1884. The compensation for winning the suit was that he asked for no fee, but only requested that the town involved in the case be named after him. Let's hear it for Ego. I love it. The full name, Glen Hurley, was used for 1 year. The following year, 1885, it just became known as Hurley. Very busy with all the lumberjacks coming into town and enjoying a beverage and other activities in Hurley. You may have heard the stories. I won't get into them here. For a road geek like me, it's the northern end of U.S. Highway 51, a backbone of the state and the country. It starts in New Orleans, goes all the way up to Hurley, where it ends just short of Lake Superior. And Iron County is also home to Mercer, the loon capital of the world. And right in front of the Chamber of Commerce in Mercer, along 51, there's a 16-foot, 2,000-pound, that's 1 ton, statue named Claire de Lune. L-O-O-N, not L-U-N-E, as you might imagine. All right.
Very nice.
Shall we light the fire?
All right, we've done Winesconsin, Brewsconsin, and a show for brandy old fashions, but now it's time to shed some light on one of our more wacky Wisconsin beverages, because some of them are a little bit wild, is what the script says, but some of them, let's just be real, some are just absurd, and those are just the great ones to order and make a story out of your entire brunch. So it's time to talk about where you can find Wisconsin's wildest Bloody Marys.
And I believe first we're diving into some of that history, because it is such a fascinating drink, and I want to know where it comes from.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of digging on this, and I think it's so perfect for the Bloody Mary that there is no widely accepted origin story of the Bloody Mary. There are basically 2 guys that claim ownership of it. There is Pete Petio, who claims to have invented it in Paris in the 1920s when working at the famous Harry's New York bar, which was literally a bar that they shipped from New York over to Paris just so that Americans seeking asylum from Prohibition could drink and feel at home. There's also a comedian that this is actually the oldest written connection to an inventor of the Bloody Mary, and it was a comedian in 1939 who claimed to have invented it. It was George Jessel. And then after George Jessel claimed that he invented it, then Petio claimed that he took his recipe and kind of refined it when he came over to Manhattan and was working at the St. Regis Hotel. He says that Jessel kind of invented just a combination of tomato juice and vodka, and he was the one who kind of dolled it up with horseradish, Tabasco sauce, lemon juice, celery salt, all that good stuff. So it's just perfect because very much like Bloody Marys, you don't go somewhere and order a Bloody Mary and know exactly what you're going to get. You go to a bar and you're asking, tell me your story of the Bloody Mary. Give me your rendition. So I just love that. It's really up to whatever you believe and whatever story you have been told.
Well, that's for sure. And I think that even though there's mixed history, it's like, did the hamburgers start at Seymour, Wisconsin or somewhere else? The bottom line is, come on, we all agree, all four of us, that Wisconsin perfected it. No matter what, we perfected the Bloody Mary.
Absolutely.
Oh, you betcha.
And the chaser is a very Wisconsin piece to that.
Yeah. I go everywhere, Eric, and wherever I go, they never give a chaser. And I'm like, where's my chaser? And on the other side of things, I have guests come to Wisconsin and they get the chaser and they're like, wow, what's this all about?
A bonus beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to the Rose Bowl one year when the Badgers were in it in 99, and all the California bars, as soon as they saw us with our Wisconsin gear on.
Yeah.
First of all, they said, thank God you guys are here. We're going to put our kids through college now. But second, every time they gave us a Bloody Mary, it was like, where's our chaser? Oh, yeah, you guys are from Wisconsin. Hang on. And they, even though it wasn't their policy, they'd give us a free beer in a small glass.
That's awesome.
So,
I did hear another part of the whole myth behind it. The name, too, by the way, we should mention, was named after Queen Mary Tudor, who had a particularly bloody reign over England in the 16th century. So apparently it's named for her. But the other thing you mentioned, the chaser, what's interesting to me is people said that the Bloody Mary actually, I like what you're saying there, Dave, but they also, I've heard, it started like a michelada. Like it really was a combination of beer and tomato juice. And then with time, they got rid of the beer, replaced it with vodka. So that's why we still serve a chaser to get that beer in there.
and of course, Bloody Mary means it's vodka as the alcohol portion. A couple of other variations, including a Bloody Maria, which is the Southern style hermana of the Bloody Mary. Only difference is that in a Maria, you're using tequila instead of vodka, and it's delicious.
Yep.
Take it from someone who's lost a few tequila shot contests. I can handle a Bloody Maria.
There's also a Bloody Fairy mixing with absinthe, the Bloody Bishop mixing it with sherry. And there's one with rum, too. That's like, I don't know. That's
The Bloody Pirate.
Yeah, I think you're right. I just think that's wrong. That's all.
Yeah.
That is wrong. Of course, Bloodies can get spicy, too. I mean, it's tomato juice and vodka by itself isn't necessarily, there's no real kick to it. But although there's plenty of flavor, but a Bloody Caesar is when you get really spicy. That's when you're adding more horseradish, black pepper. And in Canada, it's popular, and you may have seen the Clamato juice on the shelves. A little clam juice mixed in with the tomato juice for some reason.
I think as it makes it
to me.
Well, it makes it a little thinner. You know, some people, it's not like a mimosa, which is effervescent and you can just kind of drink it. If you don't want to go that route on a brunch, you go with the Bloody Mary because it's heavy. It's often a meal. We haven't even talked about the garnishes yet, guys. But
no, we'll get there.
And answer your question, Eric, from what I know, my time in Canada doing Boondock Nation, our sister series, they like it because it's a little thinner when you use Clamato. It's not as thick and whatever. One thing I want to point out too, you know, a lot of people drink them on an airplane. It's like you get ginger ale, but do you really buy ginger ale at home? But people will blame similar with Bloody Marys. You drink them on a plane, but not at home. They say because the altitude makes them taste better, according to a 2010 study out of Germany.
Wow.
Really? So I've seen a study that said you lose about 30% of your taste buds. Like they're 30% less effective in the air, which is why airline food was always considered not to taste as good. But I think tomato juice, the acidity of it, might help it cut through. Like, so the 70% that's still there, it'll really delight that.
Yeah, it is.
And it fuels you.
It does.
Really does.
It's one of those drinks you really can only have one. Like I could down an endless mimosa, but doing an endless Bloody, has anyone ever done that? Susan, have you?
Oh, no.
No,
That
be a
would be
little
way
tough.
too much.
Do you like a Bloody bar, guys, where
Maybe.
you can put your own fixings in it? Like where you get to concoct your own Bloody Mary? You go up to the little bar and put your olives in and, you know, all that good stuff? Or do you like it
That
It
pre-made?
is
would be
fun, but
fun.
like with any buffet, you tend to overdo it then.
I have to
Exactly.
admit, I have never really been into Bloody Marys, which is, I should just leave the show right now. But
You're officially kicked
last
off,
week we did
dude.
baseball, and you're not into baseball. This
I know,
week.
I'm just hating on everything. But when I was growing up, I didn't like pickles. I didn't like tomato juice. I didn't like horseradish. So this was just like the antithesis of what I wanted in my cup. But I'm sure I'll come around as my taste develop. I've turned around on pickles now. So
How do you know when they're
eventually.
not all combined?
probably
It's
there.
delightful.
I try one every couple of years, and I'm like, not yet.
Still not your
It's
thing.
funny. It's a popular day drinking beverage. Or if you're watching like a football game, like a Badger game at 11 a.m., you're doing Bloody Marys by 8. But really, Rick, there's an etiquette to Bloody Marys, and they're not just for breakfast anymore.
No, they're not. They're saying it's actually a good evening drink because it gives you all that iron and gives you all the kind of good things you need. Part of the etiquette, too, a lot of people talk about is what do you do like if you go to Sobelmans, right? Everyone's seen the image of Sobelmans in Milwaukee where you can buy a $90 Bloody Mary with a full chicken on it. You know, Eric
Hey,
knows
you're
what I'm
stealing
talking
my
about.
stuff here.
Well, you can talk
gonna
about,
about
the
that.
point is, do you drink around it and leave everything up in the air to hit your hair and your
Yeah.
forehead? Or do you pull it out on a little side plate? Some restaurants will give you a nice little side plate, you know? That's etiquette to me. I think you have to kind of separate it, you know, and just like enjoy the meal and the drink separately. That's what I think proper etiquette is, Susan, just so you know.
You were talking to me about etiquette as we were like concepting this episode, and I was like, I've never heard of Bloody Mary etiquette, so you needed to include
To explain
that
that a little bit. Yeah,
Yes.
I could have probably had a better explanation. You have to drink it with your pinky up, too. I'm just making that up. See how many people go out and do that tomorrow
Right.
or Sunday morning. Yes, there you
Practicing.
go. You look
Perfect.
good, Eric. You look
Yeah.
good with it. Eric's the only one with the bloody in his hand.
That's not. I've got a jolly good. That's fitting for the rest of the
Oh,
episode.
that is good.
I was going to tilt it a little more towards the camera, but
Ooh,
there's-
yeah, don't do
there's
that.
a lot of.
So he's drinking right now. Tell us about that one, Eric.
Well, I'm trying to
'cause-
set it up so I can tilt it and show you a little bit.
Well, don't spill it.
So that our
Oh.
YouTube audience can see
Oh,
what's
look,
going
it's
on.
got a shrimp, it's got a hot link or a sausage. It's got my favorite topping. If I'm going to make one in my home for friends, guys, I always use what I see there in yours, Eric, the cheese wisp. You know, the little ropey kind of things?
And
They just
the first
hang-
time
Yeah, there it is.
I ever saw that was at this. I got this Bloody Mary from the Wicked Hop, which
Nice.
is right near where I live.
Third ward.
So I convinced them to let me take one to go, and I just walked the block and a half and said, "I hope no cops see me."
Very nice.
And but I had to. You need the visual, and I know if you're listening on audio now, you got to go to YouTube and watch.
Yeah, you got to see that cheese wisp and how Eric
But
eats it.
I'm gonna deconstruct this topping. Do I do the pinky out with the
Yes.
cheese?
See? He knows the etiquette.
That's
now.
etiquette.
Always. That's etiquette. Proper Bloody Mary.
But I'm going to take this apart piece by piece because there's more under the beef stick.
Man,
There
it's
is an
so good.
olive. There's a little mini pickle. There's a mushroom that's flavored with blue cheese. There's all kinds of cool stuff in here. And I don't have a side plate, but I have plenty of paper towels just in case it gets messy in here.
That's so funny. You know,
I am prepared.
That's
I already
awesome.
lost an ice cube.
And it's one of those drinks that has so many dedicated websites. When we all started to do our research, everybody go out and look. There is a website called the Bloody Mary Tour, and the gal that runs it, she's actually out of Seattle, Washington, but she created a bloody called the Wisco Bloody Mary, where she puts, get this, guys, she puts the ground mustard right in it, almost like horseradish, and then she puts the sauerkraut right within it and gets it all mixed up in there. So some people like to put their toppings within and not just atop. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Sauerkraut in a bloody is something new to me.
I like it. Don't get it caught in the straw, though, Eric.
Yeah, that would be a little tough.
No,
Yeah, you can't get any of this. You can't get string cheese caught in a straw either.
no, for sure.
Even the thin wisps like this.
There
This
you
looks like
go.
a question mark.
Hey, there you go. Dave, I'm being a little generous, but I suggest that maybe one way you would like a Bloody Mary for an introduction, I'm hoping you like bacon. I'm assuming you like good
Oh,
old
yeah.
Wisconsin pork. Yeah? Of
course.
Well, put some bacon in there because that makes a bloody always better.
Yeah.
And you can stir with it. You like that, Susan? It's
That is a
one.
good idea. I'm going to try that.
A little bacon. A little bacon in there.
A little bacon.
Candy
mean-
bacon is sometimes used, and it's wonderful.
Maybe once you guys walk me through the list of locations, I'll pick one that sounds good and I'll go try it this weekend.
That will be fun. Eric and I can go head to head here from my experiences traveling the state and his. So, Eric, you mentioned the Wicked Hop. I mentioned Sobelmans. Where else do you like?
Well, if we're staying in Milwaukee, one other thing you can do with bloodies is make them spicy, and I put some of this in there. So,
We hear that.
Tio.
Yes.
not
Sorry
the
about
most
that.
brilliant move I've made. So Wicked Hop is the first place I ever saw that did the cheese wisps, and I don't know if they were one of the first to ever do it anywhere, but it's the first I'd seen, and it's become more popular lately. But in the Milwaukee Public Market, which is right across the street, it's all in the downtown Third Ward area of Milwaukee, the West Allis Cheese and Sausage Company decided they couldn't be outdone by the Wicked Hop. So they came up with 4. An Absolutely Bloody that has a grilled cheese slider.
Nice.
Newski's bacon. And there's bacon and then there's Newski's, right?
Yes.
A beef stick mozzarella whips, because you have to have those now. Pickle, olive, and celery. The Milwaukeean actually has a brat slider on it. Deep fried cheese curds. Newski's bacon, a beef stick, mozzarella whips, pickle, olive, and celery. And I think celery stick wasn't that kind of the first original garnish?
It was, from what I read.
It was just, you stir it with the celery and you eat it, and then somebody made it a pickle, and then it just went off the rails from there. The cheese head is a cheese and sausage kebab with Newski's bacon, beef stick, whips, pickle, olive, and celery. And the breakfast bloody is the house blend Newski's bacon infused vodka, garnished with a hard-boiled egg, and then the bacon, beef stick, mozzarella whips, pickle, olive, and celery. So they keep coming up with new combinations, but then there are places scattered around the state that just go that much further to try and outdo the toppings.
Oh, for sure. And then some just want to be purists, where they just want to get the perfection of the mix between the ingredients Dave mentioned earlier. You know, I like a good black pepper, cracked pepper in mine. You can't just right? It's got to be that cracked, thick pepper is so good. My calls would be in other parts of the states. For my travels, when I used to do the show with Stephanie, Mountain, Wisconsin, guys, has a place called, oh my God, Mulligan's. When you talk about the egg, every ingredient they use, including an egg, is a pickled egg. So it's all pickled ingredients on theirs. Pickled egg, Brussels sprouts, tomato, green beans, sausage stick, cheese stick, pickled cauliflower, pretzels, garlic bread, pickled carrot slices, dill pickle spear, look out, Dave, and celery and more. That's in Mountain, Wisconsin. You can find them on Facebook. I'd also call out in Wisconsin Rapids, an area that's in the center of the state, Hoozles. So they get this, guys. They serve a bloody that is 51, not just 50, guys, 51 ounces in size. No joke.
Woof.
And get this, speaking of breakfast, chicken and waffles, cheese curds, mini peppers, and dipping sauces.
Like on top of this beverage?
Yes.
Holy goodness.
Dipping sauces?
Yes, dipping sauces. Now, we did call because we like to clarify things, and Bridget from our team called. They're currently open. They're just not serving the Hoozle right now because of COVID, probably. But once we're back and up and running, it gives us something to look forward to. Hoozles. The Hoozle.
Wow.
Yeah. And one last one I want to call out, because Dave and Susan and Eric, it's pretty close. There goes Eric. Eric, you're going to choke on us.
These are really long cheese whip.
They sure are. But there's a place, because it's also about the experience, drinking with your friends. You know, it's not just the bloody watching a Packer game, a Badger game, whatever you want to do. But there's a place down in Milton, Wisconsin, just kind of between Beloit and Madison, called the 59er. And they do minnow races. So you can race your minnows while you're drinking your bloody. It's a Tito's bloody in a big old cup. And then they also do, you know, this is so Wisconsin, y'all, meat raffles.
Oh,
For
that
them,
is a Wisconsin thing.
You raffle off like, what, Eric? Like every hour they raffle off like 2 pounds
A side of
chicken.
beef. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Susan. You've never seen a...
No, I've seen it. It's just
Eric's
like
taken to podcasting with a mouthful now.
Oh, that's impolite. I forgot. Sorry.
Well, not at all. It's not at all.
It'll be hilarious on
that
YouTube.
experience fun. I always go down there after church, have my bloody with my friends, watch the minnow races, and hope I can win a pound of chicken thighs or something.
that's
Always
hilarious.
fun.
That sounds like an experience. I love it.
That it is. So that's the 59er down in Milton, Wisconsin.
Named
Great
after
places
Highway
like that.
59, which goes right through Milton.
Makes perfect sense.
Right by
doesn't it?
the classic Milton House. Dave, where's my sound effect? Thank you. It's my highway reference sound effect. Now, if you're watching this on video, here are some of the other accoutrements from the Wicked Hot Bloody Mary that I'm enjoying right now. The beef stick, the olive, the pickle, and the mushroom. It's nice when they put a lot of these on sticks, much easier to consume gradually this way.
Now, one word that I expected to come across at this point in the episode, the W word that is often in Bloody Marys. What do you all
Worcestershire.
pronounce?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. Right?
Worcestershire.
I've never known the correct pronunciation, but I know that throughout the entire word, you should be saying the R sound.
Is that right?
Sure.
Worcestershire.
Add a couple ERs on the end.
Yeah.
And some people use beef bouillon or beef broth in it too to give it that kind of meaty taste.
Oh,
A
sure.
little broth is good in there.
I like that
and
too.
Tomato juice is kind of the classic. We've talked a little bit about the clam juice in there. I like, one of the things I like about Wicked Hop's Bloody Mary is they actually use V8 instead of straight up tomato juice. So you get a couple of different vegetable juices.
Yeah.
And then I can claim it's really healthy. Because if you're going to drink an alcoholic beverage, really, a Bloody Mary is one of the healthier beverages you can choose.
And they say pretty much low calorie, too. If you look at, I think, a can of Bloody Mary mix, about 80 calories. But you bring up a good point. Sometimes it's really about the tomato juice or the mixer you're using. And I got to call out Zing Zang. There's a lot of people who go to a bar, want to order a Bloody Mary, but they will not order it unless it's made with Zing Zang. So Zing Zang.
Yeah.
That's how I like to say that. Zing Zang.
It is fun to say.
It is, yes. So, Eric, you've got to have some more options of places to go around the state.
Absolutely. And I can't vouch for the Zing Zang proportion on some of these. And it is funny. That's a big Wisconsin business now is Bloody Mary mixes that people love to sell.
For sure. Good point.
You have your classic Mr. and Mrs. T. You have Zing Zing. There's one called Lutz or Lutz that they just did with West Allis Cheese and Sausage. So.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And there's just such a vibrant business of Bloody Mary accessory ingredients. So you got like your bacon rim coatings and stuff like that. It's just fascinating. Everyone can have their one ingredient that makes their Bloody Marys special.
And there's a lot of secret house-infused vodkas and secret house mixes that a lot of places like to do. Mars Cheese Castle prides themselves on their Bloody Mary. It's very popular with Illinois people coming up over the state line. If you're big on celery salt on the rim, you're going to love the Bloody Mary at the Mars Cheese Castle in Kenosha. Milwaukee's such a competitive market. We've been talking about that one. But Pepi's Pub and Grill, which is in Racine, actually entered a Milwaukee Bloody Mary contest and won it.
Wow.
First time anybody out of the area, out of the county at least, won. And they use house-infused vodka. Everyone's made fresh by hand. A lot of places pre-mix all of their Bloody Mary stuff. But you never know where you're going to find highly rated Bloody Marys. There actually is another site called bestbloodymarys.com, I believe. And people are rating them all over the country. And some of the 5 stars that we saw in Wisconsin, some unlikely places, like a place called V&M Campground and Bar in Rice Lake. And it's just this little shack.
I love it. That's awesome.
House-infused vodka at a freaking campground, and the campers and visitors just can't get enough of this. Now, maybe it's because they're camping. And Bloody Marys are so much better when you're doing that, but really highly rated. Same for the Sayner Pub, which is such a popular place with locals and visitors alike in Sayner. Right there on 155, right by where they invented the snowmobile.
You can't miss it. My nephew was a bartender there for many years. So
really?
I've had many, many, many drinks there.
Yeah, most people remember going there. They don't remember the rest.
Leaving, right?
Some great garnishes, but what's cool is they serve them in these tall, slender glasses. Most Bloody Marys are served in a pint glass. At Sayner Pub, it's these tall, beautiful glasses, and they're very slender. And even the little beer chaser thing, it's probably only 4 or 5 ounces, but it's a tall, slender glass with a little handle, so it's all fancy at Sayner Pub.
That's where you put your pinky up.
Yep.
Very popular place, kind of in the Fox Cities area, is called Two of a Kind. It's in Dundas. Have you been there?
I know of it because don't they double up on the sliders they put in? Like everything's like doubled?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yep. Dundas is just southeast of Kaukauna. Their ultimate Bloody Mary features mini cheeseburgers, hard-boiled or pickled eggs, cheese whips, a beef stick, deep-fried shrimp. Most places use a fresh one. Right. And then the pickle mushroom, a Brussels sprout. That's another popular garnish. Nice. And, of course, olives. Another popular one up in the North Woods is the Backhaus Sportsmen Retreat. That's in Wabeno or Wabeno. I always go back and forth on that.
Say Wabeno.
It's Wabeno.
Yeah.
A friend of mine's from there, and I kept going back and forth on it. Of course, that's home to Larry the Log Roller, right along Highway 32. They have a house mix, and like one reviewer had said, they basically just shove a salad into the glass.
Oh, my God.
And that includes not only mushrooms and olives and a sprout, but asparagus.
Nice. Wow.
Along with a tiny, cute little mug for the beer chaser. Huge place way up north is in Florence. The Tavern on Central. Huge, highly rated Bloody. 5 stars on this national site. ATV or snowmobilers who visit rave about it. They have several fried cheese curds on a stick, a long stack. It's almost like you're at State Fair. A mini cheeseburger, 3 to 4 shrimps, string cheese, a beef stick, olives, and the sprout. Loopy's in Chippewa Falls, very highly rated. And they specialize with the spicy Bloody, and they put pepperoncinis. As part of
we didn't talk about the spiciness level, right? You always go and you have to say, how spicy do you want it? Dave, I'd suggest when you do your first and get it, or when you get into the habit of doing these, go spicier every time. Challenge yourself, sir.
Yep.
Yep. Get as red as the bloody. Look at my face now. You'd think I'm the one drinking. I think I'm just craving them right now as Eric's citing these. You guys get involved in the conversation, though. We'd love to hear from you. We know we'll hear from you even if we don't ask, right, Dave? They're going to tell us their favorite bloodies because Wisconsinites are loyal to the Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Well,
and I want to hear about what their crazy ingredients that we missed out on are.
Yeah.
I hear a lot about okra. We haven't mentioned okra being in Bloody Marys.
I haven't heard of okra and a Bloody Mary. That sounds awesome.
Well, you know, I just got back from Louisiana because I love Wisconsin, but when I get away, I go as far south as possible. Crawfish and okra are the main ingredients down there, for sure. I just don't like seafood in my bloody. I just don't. I don't. Ugh, just the idea.
Not big on the shrimps, huh?
No, stay away from those, Eric. Yeah. I like them, just not in my Bloody Mary.
You're a landlubber when it comes to bloodies.
Yes, that's right. Give me the beef. But yeah, great fun places. How about you, Susan? You haven't mentioned, do you like them? Do you not like them? And where? Oh, she's got a confession, y'all.
I'm not a Bloody Mary fan. That's why I've not hopped in on this conversation. I'm like, Dave.
I'm just shamelessly admitting it.
Oh, yeah. I was just letting you take that heat and all of these suggestions for me.
Meanwhile, Rick and I are just downing as much pounded tomato as we possibly can. More.
No, one day I'll get
see
there.
where the lushes are in this particular episode.
Yes, exactly.
I've got two more places I'll share real quick. One is Matty's Bar in New Berlin, which is in Waukesha County. They have a pint size you can do, a Matty Mary, and they say that's only 25 ounces. And they garnish it with this incredibly long list of toppings that includes jalapeno cheddar beef stick, pickled asparagus, cherry tomatoes, green onions, cucumbers, and things like that. And then the ultimate Matty Mary, basically all of those. And then they basically rotate toppings. They've had mini brats, tamales, bourbon glazed meatballs.
Ooh.
And the list goes on and on. So
that's a good one. That's great. And, you know, it was one of the things, Susan, about etiquette, too. I was going to say, you can do, maybe this will help you like them, Susan. You can do tastings, like you do beer or you do wine tastings. You know, like two things to consider. What do you eat with it if you're just having a bloody without all the toppings? They do say, Eric, that it is meatballs. That's one of the best things you can eat as a side dish. But also think you're a beer choice. Yeah, I think people sell themselves short. They get a Bloody Mary and they just say, oh, just give me that chaser. No, select your chaser accordingly, right? We have so many great beers in Wisconsin. And I would shout out, Eric, I'm going to add one more, the Nitty Gritty. Who doesn't love Madison's Nitty Gritty? You can get a huge one there. I forget the size, but it's massive. And for those that don't know, you know, the Nitty Gritty is the place to go. If it's your birthday, you get free drinks. You just have a great time. And if you're going with your friends, get the Bloody Marys. They're excellent there.
Okay, question though, because I think this might also help Dave and I. Is there anywhere that you could get like a Bloody Mary flight?
Yes.
Maybe some of these festivals?
At my house, Susan, at my house.
We'll tell all of our listeners.
Where the listeners can...
they're welcome to come. Dave, you know I
bring
like
them all
down. No,
we could
but
always
that
do a
would be
follow-up
fun.
episode where we do that.
Yeah, there is. You know though, Susan, you can do them. There are places that do green tomatoes, like tomatillos. So you could do a little flight. Eric and Dave, we got to work on that. Eric's busy eating his cheese.
I'm cool with that.
A Bloody Mary flight. You got me all excited. Now I want to go and start a restaurant just so I can do the Bloody Mary flight.
I was gonna say, we must have inspired someone in this like audio recording to make a Bloody Mary flight.
There's a couple people drinking them right now.
Absolutely.
Well, the different mixes with Bloody Marys, I mean, it is almost like whiskeys or vodkas or different beers. Like you can do flights with that stuff. So, I think that's an excellent party theme.
That's good. Just remember, hold that pinky out. What's that, Dave? I'm just reminding folks.
Well, Eric, you were talking to us before we started recording about some of the festivals. Maybe that would be a good place for people like me who aren't sure exactly what they like in a Bloody Mary to find that out. You want to tell us about those?
Yeah, La Crosse does a Best Bloody Mary bar crawl because La Crosse has quite a few bars, great college town. That just took place on April 10th, so you missed it. But Racine has one coming up, a Bloody Mary Fest on May 15th. And Milwaukee still has on the schedule the Wisconsin Bloody Mary Festival at Fiserv Forum, the big arena. So this is going to be a big one. August 21st is the date scheduled for that one, and you will have hundreds to choose from.
That's fun.
So if you imagine like a beer and wine festival where you can just go to different stations and try all the different beers and wines, this is where you can try all the different kinds of Bloody Marys.
How fun.
Rick, I think that sounds
ultimate
like a
in
company
flights.
field trip.
I think that sounds good. Let's get that approved and let's head on over
Perfect.
and meet Eric there. Yes, it sounds good, guys.
Then we might have to top it off with, I will give you one last Bloody Mary. with outrageous toppings. And that is, and you did mention this earlier, Rick, Sobelmans in Milwaukee, which takes the cake because the cake is the only thing missing. On the top of this thing.
That's good.
It's called the Beast, or variations of the Beast. And it is in a large pitcher. It is $50, but it is easily splittable by multiple people. Basically, and it starts with kind of the basic stuff: a Brussels sprout, celery, onion, a mushroom, cherry, tomato, lemon, pickle, shrimp, sausage stick, cheese, olive, green onion, asparagus. Nothing crazy there. But then they add baconados. Anybody know what those are?
Excuse me?
They're making it so
Baconados, bacon-wrapped, deep-fried jalapeno cheese balls.
Yum.
That sounds
Right.
amazing.
I know. All of our voices just changed.
I know.
We all went down an octave when we heard about this. There is one piece, and they often have a little mini Sobelman burger attached to it and some other things, but the pièce de résistance, if you will, an entire deep-fried whole chicken. The whole freaking thing sitting on top, deep-fried.
How much does that weigh by the end of it?
A lot. It's not in a plastic pitcher, let's put it that
Yeah.
way. It's in a hardy glass pitcher. And it's great. So you're carving off pieces of the deep fried chicken before you can even really get into the
I do have to ask,
bloody
we're
itself.
talking etiquette. How do you approach something like that? Do you pour it through the chicken and then kind of sip on
I'd be
it?
creative.
That's a very good idea.
Dave, you know I'm all about quality etiquette.
Well, and you know, Dave, it's true. I mean, I was wondering how they balance it. And I know they've got it perfected, Eric. They know exactly where to place that chicken so it doesn't fall over. With my luck, it would fall over. But that is a good one to end on, guys. I mean, there is no doubt when you talk nationally, I mean, anyone can argue with me. Go ahead and send us your comments because you may feel different. But Sobelmans is the one that you get so many pictures and Instagrams and people just sharing the love of Wisconsin across the world.
Well, one of the sources where I found the details was on E.
Oh,
The entertainment website E. I mean, it was a national article
Yeah, it gets a lot of
Sobelmans.
attention.
And actually, they were donating a portion of the proceeds to the Hunger Task Force and stuff.
that's fantastic.
So it was for a good cause, but I'm telling you, when you're doing that, when a defibrillator is not a bad idea.
So what do you not put in a Bloody Mary, you guys? Would it be maybe a pina colada version of Jolly Good Soda?
She's just dangling that transition out there for you.
Well, Susan, I'm noticing, because I have this Bloody Mary in front of me.
I feel like you would not want me to pour
of
this
one.
in there.
No. And that's not a chaser I'd use with a Bloody either.
No.
But let's face it, what you have is a pretty tasty drink, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And very Wisconsin, right?
Absolutely. Jolly Good Soda. There's a lot of great soda flavors, but an exciting introduction to make now for their new diet soda line. Every can of Jolly Good Soda, every diet can is caffeine-free, 0 calories, 0 grams of carbs or sugars. So if you're looking to where you can get your hands on Jolly Good Soda, you can find it at Sendik's, Piggly Wiggly, Triggs, Woodman's, Quality Food Market, and most recently, you can find them at Festival Foods.
Yeah, you can hop on their website too. Check out Jolly Good Soda. There will be a little map that tells you exactly where to go and get them. Also, follow Jolly Good like I do on social media. I got it on my Facebook, my Instagram. They also do a lot of on Twitter. It's at Jolly Good Soda. And they do some really fun promos, guys. I'm sure you know about it, but they're running a Case of the Mondays promo. So every Monday, they're giving away a 12-pack to one lucky winner. All you have to do is just be there, be a part of the conversation, follow them on their social media for your chance to win.
And I'm excited. It's review time, you guys.
All right.
This one is labeled Great Podcast by Wes Bender on Apple Podcasts.
Nice.
It says,
love these names.
absolutely, right? They're so creative. I absolutely love the podcast and the show, which I've been watching for years. The content is absolutely wonderful. Who knew there were so many cool things hidden in our state? Keep up the great work. We will.
Thank you, Wes Bender.
Thank you, Wes Bender.
Yay.
Good name. I wonder where they're from.
It's a mystery for sure.
This Bloody's going down nice. Now, we love talking about all things Wisconsin here in the cabin. That usually comes in the form of tourism or where to plan your next vacation or little road trip. But we like taking a historic and informative trip sometimes too. So come back next week. You're going to learn all about some famous Wisconsin inventions that hail from this great state that you probably don't know about. So we'll educate you.
And thank you for joining us, Rick. Hope you
Yeah.
had
Thank
fun.
you, Rick.
Perfect show to join. I always have fun. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Rick. Cheers.
Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by Eric Paulson and Dave Janis with guest host Rick Rose. Produced by me, Susan Foch, and Audio Dave, with video editing by Andrew Natvig and social media by me and Abby Stecker. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover MediaWorks. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com and don't forget to leave us a review.